Hi, and welcome to EV Chat. I'm Kieran Andrews, a software engineer and EV enthusiast. Today, we're chatting about the new Model 2, which has been confirmed by Tesla. The Model 3 performance is on its way back, and you might be able to buy one. And what else is coming with it? Also, a Tesla was hacked, but was it in the way that you were expecting? So today, my friend Victor, who's a graphic designer and another EV enthusiast, joins me today. How are you, Victor?
I am very, very well. I'm ready for a chat. It's been a week. It's been a week, haven't it? Like
Yes.
yes, we've been sending each other articles and did you see this? Oh, did you see that? It's interesting. Now, first of all, has it been announced that it's called a Model 2, or you're just calling it like the cheap Tesla?
I'm just calling it a Model 2 because everyone else calls it a Model 2, and that's the easiest way to talk about it. But yeah, most of the articles put the Model 2 in quotes. So yeah, I guess that's a good enough segue to talk about our first article, which is that Tesla's next-gen low-cost vehicle, often dubbed the Model 2, is set to debut in 2025. So confirmed, we've got a year, we've got a release date. Well, not date, but we have a release year. It's expected to be released in the second half of 2025. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. The first model, so this is going to be a very compact SUV with a price under $25,000 US.
Or if you're in Australia, 38,000 of our kangaroo money.
Dollary dues.
Dollary dues.
Initial production. Definitely. Initial production is set. Or actually it could be what's the bluey currency?
Dollary dues.
Dollary dues. Yeah, dollary dues. Dollar bucks. Yes, $. That's dollar the bluey one.
Yes. From henceforward we should call
$.
Australian money $.
I'll have to put a little graphic up of $. As well whenever it comes up. So the new model aimed to be smaller and more cost effective than the current Tesla models. Tesla's CFO also highlighted that this is the start of a major growth wave for the company. But of course, in the shareholder meetings, they go how amazing things are, and they always speak things up. Mm-hmm. An innovative production process, which again is Tesla's MO, they do a lot of this, is expected to halve the manufacturing cost compared to the Model 3. So the previous version of this car, the Model 3, the Model 2. And Tesla's engineers will closely supervise the new production for quality control, because again, we hear all the articles about how horrible Tesla's quality is, and so they are making sure that that's not an issue. And there's uncertainty about the timeline for an Australian launch due to the right-hand drive configuration not being available. But yeah, I don't know. I don't expect it to come to Australia, especially if they're going to be launching it making it in Texas. What do you think? How long is it going to take for it to come to Australia if you compare how long it took for Model 3 and Model Y?
Well, it took them like 4 years extra. And what you have said is probably the most important thing. Austin won't be building the right-hand drive, right or left? Sorry, dyslexic. The one from Australia.
Right-hand drive.
Right-hand drive, that's what I said.
Yeah, you just got to imagine yourself in a car.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Which way am I driving? So, and that's
what country am I in? Where am I?
That's what they are saying. They are initiating production. So that'll be interesting. I don't think we're gonna. But that's not only Australia. That's Australia, Hong Kong, Great Britain, Japan, a bunch of other people that drive in the wrong side of the road.
Ooh. Yeah, I expect that's what they'll do. So they're probably going to be launching it in America just because they want to. Like, this is all speculation, but I think they want to get in on the tax, tax cuts that you can get in America for buying an EV, especially a cheap one. So it'll be even cheaper.
That's an interesting one, because right now those tax cuts and all of those things are under the policy of Biden. So we don't know what's going to happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. Election time and those things may be scraped. Who knows? So that price may come up, may come down. It may be around. Now,
that's the base price. The discount or the subsidies come off of that as well. So it could be very cheap if Biden stays in.
No. But they also receive grants if they are built all in America, and they are built with, what is it, 99% American pieces and parts, and 99% American built.
Exactly. And, lots of different stipulations and things like that. I think it's even $7,500. as well.
But
so yeah.
I thought also Tesla, not only the consumer, but also Tesla was getting like some tax cuts and stuff like that. Am I wrong in that one? I may be wrong.
I haven't heard about that, but per individual, yeah, if they produce everything in America or a free trade country, then they do get the benefits. So I guess what's relevant to this is that they could be very cheap, and it makes a lot of sense for Tesla to release it in the US first.
Absolutely. And it's the place that probably they will 100% release it first there. Now the price, we found another article that didn't say on the 25,000, it was 25 to 30,000. That is a big chunk of difference, isn't it? Like
that's a huge
it
difference.
goes into a completely different ballpark, I reckon. Like 25,000 on the 25,000 is our first car. It's almost the price of a first car, so it's really affordable. Now once you jump that to 30,000 for whatever, then that's a different kind of car. So I don't know. I'm very, very curious to see that final price.
Well, yeah, if it was under 40,000 in Australia, well, actually, do you think they can get it here under 40K with all the delivery?
Not with on-road costs. No. I don't think the dollar buck is strong enough.
Yeah, dollar bucks aren't strong enough. So, like, it would have to then be under 50, right?
But even with that, it's still like what 50%, no, 40% cheaper than the Model 3. The Model 3, what is running you $70,000? So, even if it's 42 or 45, that's still like $30,000
plus on road, 50 something.
You're probably right. Still $20,000 cheaper. That's anyway. Now here's the question for Australia, and this is only for Australia. Do you think it's as cheap as it can be? Do you think it's as cheap as it needs to be? Sorry.
I think it needs to be cheap. Personally, I from previous discussions I've had with you about this, I actually do think in order to compete in Australia, in order to compete against the Chinese electric cars, it is going to need to be cheaper.
That's what I was thinking. Like, especially in Australia, I reckon it needs to hit on the $35,000 plus on road costs.
Potentially in the US, 25,000 makes sense, but the problem is, like with the exchange rate and with shipping and all that kind of stuff, all the excuses the cars company make for having expensive cars here. I don't know. Like, does that compare? I'd love to know more from people in the US. Like, is that still an expensive car? Like if you compare it to a petrol, is it starting to become parity on petrol if it is 25,000 in the US, or is it still an expensive car then?
So why not Shanghai? Because it seems like the obvious answer, right?
Well, Shanghai is pumping out Model Ys, and so I think that's the reason why they're not going to produce them in Shanghai, because again, it's all about the subsidies, and Shanghai is like pumping out so many Model Ys for all over the world, and
but this is for Australia. I'm talking about Australia and the rest of the world. I get for America, you would build them in Austin, but Shanghai is massive. You wouldn't think that maybe they will allocate a certain amount from Shanghai for the rest of the world?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems a weird strategy. I think that they would, like, they're eventually probably going to retool Shanghai and allow and make them in Shanghai, because it is going to be a very popular car and they're going to want to have lots and lots of volume. There is talks of another factory in China, so potentially but that'll be ages away. That'll be another year as well after this, probably, although they did build the Shanghai factory in a very quick amount of time, in record time.
That was crazy.
They could surprise us here. I really don't know. My best prediction, or my best guess for the moment, is that they'll produce it initially in Austin, and then after a year or 2 years, they'll then retool Shanghai and start producing them there, and then eventually that'll mean they'll come to Australia.
Couple of questions that come to mind right now. The very first one is 2025, a year and a bit, maybe 2 years top, like a year. And does that sound like enough time? Well, that being said, we don't know what Austin is doing. Maybe they are ready and set up and ready and good to go. But there's also so many other cars that are in the dark right now from Tesla that I don't know. You would think that they would be fulfilling all of those roadster orders that they are really far behind on. One would think. One would think there's
Yeah,
people
I don't know.
that
It is going to take a while for them to get there and start getting that volume, etc. There is also going to be a lot more competitors in the market, especially from a lot of the Chinese EVs, that if they can get the cost down as battery prices have been dropping down. So, yeah. But this article talks about the GM Chevy Bolt and the new version they're going to release. I don't know if that's actually going to be competing, because I don't think GM are going to do very well with their Chevy Bolt because they pulled it from sale. But potentially,
maybe they made it better. Maybe maybe they pull it, and then maybe now it's going to be a fantastic car.
It sells really well in the US. Like if you ignore Tesla and look at like number 2, it sells really well. But yeah, it's very surprising. It is a low cost, and they're positioning themselves, the Chevy Bolt, as a low cost, and so it'll compete. But I think the Tesla, even if the Tesla Model 2 came out a year after the Chevy Bolt and people were like excited about the Bolt, I think people would still wait for the Tesla because of the reputation as well. Even though people get annoyed about Elon, I think the brand of Tesla is still strong and will be still strong.
And the charging infrastructure, don't forget that. The charging infrastructure is a big plus. Especially
I keep forgetting about that because that's not a real problem here compared to America. But yes, the charging network difference in America is a stark contrast. And so, yeah, there's a huge benefit to getting a Tesla vehicle in America.
Yeah. Well, in Australia, the main thing is that you cannot use superchargers, which is a big one. I know that we all use the same CCS2, but even if you have the CCS2, you cannot plug into a supercharger. If you
there are some superchargers which you can plug into because they are also CCS2 in Australia as well, but not all of them. So only certain Tesla superchargers in Australia can be plugged into other EVs. Did you know that, Victor?
None of them. I didn't. I thought all of the Teslas. I did not know that.
No. So there are Tesla stations in Australia that you can plug a non-Tesla EV into.
What?
Yeah. So if you go into the Tesla app and you have a look at, there's a section, you go to your profile and you click on charge your non-Tesla. It'll bring up a map and it will show you superchargers that you can access. So I can show you a brief map of Australia on my camera. All the ones in red. Oh, sorry, I got glare from my studio lights. All those red ones there can be accessed by a non-Tesla.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that. Thank you very much, Teacher Kieran.
Yeah.
No, that's
so on
really
the way from Adelaide to Melbourne, you've got Tailem Bend, which is not a really important charger.
What? It's one of the biggest ones. Have you been? It's massive.
It is. But if I've charged at home, I can get to Keith without having to charge there. So I don't need to charge. All right,
we're leaving most of the people behind that have no idea what Tailem Bend or Keith is. But I'll just point out.
All right, let's cut that off there.
No, leave it in. I'm just gonna say that you will top up in Tailem Bend. Everybody tops up in Tailem Bend, even if it's for 10 minutes. Anyway, yeah. Let's stop this ramble. I'm just saying that.
But the big bit is, the big exciting part there is that you can use a non-Tesla on the Tesla supercharger network for not the important ones. Like the supercharger in Keith is not available for all chargers, and that is a key location. There are 2 ChargeFox chargers in Keith, and so if those chargers are down, then you're going to have a bad time. So there are situations where it can be. Most of the time, they work really well. So those ones are up. Same with the other chargers too. So compared to America, I think for me, my experiences are not too bad. In Hawaii, I had a really bad time.
I was leasing one of my Teslas, and people had a bad time because of broken chargers when they were out and about. Like, that was a problem for some of them, because if you are making a trip and saying, oh, there's a charger somewhere, and that charger is broken, infrastructure is something that in general needs to be worked on, especially for road trips. And this is only about road trips. If you don't take road trips, or if you have another car for a road trip, then you're fine. But,
I guess that also brings us back to the Model 2. The Model 2 is not going to be for road trips, right? The Model 2 is going to be for city driving and doesn't really care. So does that mean the supercharger network is not as much of a factor?
Well, as people would still drive to Tailem Bend is not far away, and people would still charge in the city, and people would still charge in Gola. Sorry, we are localizing ourselves way too much.
So I guess to translate to everyone, they're still going to use the superchargers, even though they may not do interstate travel.
Yes, so maybe not the ones on the freeway or highway, but I'm trying to be more general. You see what I'm trying to do? I'm calling it more generic. But the ones in the especially the ones in the city, for example, those ones are gonna be
definitely
cool. Yeah.
Well, so, have you heard? Well, I don't know. I'm talking more regional content, but yeah, there's going to be a new supercharger in Norwood too.
In Norwood.
Yeah.
Oh, Lily would like that.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So
sorry.
not relevant
Adelaide
to any
boys.
of our podcast listeners or watchers. But yeah, very exciting. I think the key there for our Australian audience is that Tesla this year and a bit of last year have massively increased their rollout of chargers. There was a bit of a lull for a while where they didn't really, and they have done a huge increase, which is really good to see. Because
and
it was
other
sort of
brands
stagnant
as well, and other brands as well. We've seen that. Well, probably all over the world, but there's new brands that are doing it. There's very few. For example, there's very few shopping centers that don't have chargers these days.
Yeah,
like 99% of them have chargers, and they are really affordable as well. Like it's almost as cheap as to charge at home. So very often I go do the shopping and I just plug it in for 10-15 minutes. And
I wouldn't say 99. That's a bit high. But
what?
A lot of shopping centers.
I'm talking about proper shopping centers, not your mom and pop's shopping center. I'm talking one with this Woolies, okay, Kieran?
Yeah. But anyway. Have you seen many Tesla Model 3 performances at shopping centers recently, Victor?
Well, I don't think I have, Kieran. Tell me why.
Well, because the Tesla Model 3 performance is now coming back. It's going to be returning in the first half of 2024. All right, so you could order the new Tesla Model 3, the Highland Free Fresh, but you couldn't actually get the performance version or the performance variant. This was hinted and dropped, but most recently we've seen it in the wild in the US, and it's also been delivered to former Top Gear host James May. So he actually had a Tesla Model 3 performance delivered to his house. And so the Tesla's director of investor relations, Martin, has indirectly confirmed that the new variant of the Tesla Model 3, the performance version, is going to be available soon. So it's suspected that this variant is slightly different. It has distinct front and rear bumpers. It's not yet available for order and is expected to feature an aggressive styling with a front splitter and bucket seats. So it's going to have other updates that are not just the normal Highland updates, which is going to make it more attractive. The previous generation Model 3 Performance had great performance specs, but this new variant is anticipated to be called Model 3 Ludicrous Mode, as suggested by the Tesla parts catalog. So it's not just Tesla Model 3, Tesla Model 3 Long Range, Tesla Model 3 Performance. The new performance model is going to be different from these rumors and also from some of the videos posted online by James May from Top Gear.
So first of all, I thought most of the Top Gear boys were really against EVs. Have they come around? Are they doing more that kind of content?
I think James May is kind of on the fence. He has had some frustrations with some cars in the past. I know he posted a video talking about the battery in the Model S, and that if the battery dies, because he owns a lot of cars and he doesn't always drive all of his cars. So if he left his Model S sitting there for a while, the battery went dead and he couldn't unlock the car to get into it and he couldn't charge it or had some problems like that. There is in the latest Model 3 a way to charge the 12-volt battery to get everything up and running again. So there is a workaround for that. But so he has made videos that have been popular, but he does seem to like electric cars, James May at least. I don't know about the other two presenters that were popular on Top Gear.
Well, regardless of that, I find myself asking myself, I ask of myself, who's this car for? Because at that price point, wouldn't that start creeping onto the Model S? So So because
the
the
Model
Model
S
S
is a
also
lot
had
more
a ludicrous
expensive.
mode, right?
Yes, that's right.
So the Model S was in Australia. Sorry for using our dollar box, but it was like $125,000. I think the base model 150, 125.
Yeah, I think it was closer to 150. The prices on the Model S in Australia were 132,000 before honorary costs, and then 152,000 for the performance version of the Model S.
The Model 3 performance is what, 90 something thousand dollars. I remember because a friend of mine bought it.
Yeah,
So
about that.
at that point, the other one is going to be creeping into 110, 115. You know, that
Well,
is
it's a 50% increase in price.
but from 90 to 115 for the next one, if it's not performance,
150.
15.
Well, yeah, but do you want to compare? Do you want to compare the performance Model 3 with a performance Model S, though?
I see what you're doing. All right. So, yeah, because yes, I get it. Apples and apples and oranges. I am comparing the ludicrous Model 3, which is higher than the performance, which I'm guessing is going to be well in the 100,000, 110,000 easily, against a base Model S, not the Plate. And yes, you're absolutely right. Then I should be comparing it to the $150,000, which is apples to apples.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I was wrong. Yes.
Yeah. So there's also another article on this, which is also quite interesting, in that the new Tesla Model 3 Performance is expected to launch in China in Q2. So very, very close, for 40,000 RMB, which is about $55,000. I think that's in American dollars. It's going to go in mass production at the Shanghai and Fremont plants, so China and the US, at the end of March. And this new variant from this article is expected to have carbon fiber spoiler, dual motor badging. It will have upgraded rims, upgraded braking systems, suspension, better disc brakes, and more capable tires. There are also changes to the powertrain, but they have not disclosed that. The previous version that did have dual motors had significant power and torque. So yeah, it does look like this is not just, oh yeah, Model 3 model long range performance. Is Model 3 long range and ludicrous or some sort of crazy new performance thing that's going to come out. So yeah, could be good. Do you think it's going to translate into more sales and get people excited?
Yeah, it will. I reckon it will. It's not for me. 100% not for me. I am a practical man, and I don't need 0 to 100 in 2.1 seconds. I don't need that.
It's a lot of fun though. I have driven them and they are fun to go fast, but as an everyday driving car, yeah, I don't need to spend that extra amount of money to be able to do that all the time. But I can get the appeal. I can understand that, especially for a car enthusiast who wants, if they're going to get something, they want something great. I guess that's why people would probably more be attracted to the S, because they generally are faster. But in Australia right now, you can't buy an S or an X. So having this top-end Model 3 might actually kind of fill that gap that the Model S that you can't buy really sort of fits.
We should have started by saying that, because I was comparing the Model S to this one and just trying to guess the price. But you're let's start from the very beginning. There's no Model S, there's no Model X in Australia. There's none. And but also around the world, they are really, really slowing down. Like, they are not being produced or sold as much as any of the other cars.
There's no right-hand drive S or X anywhere in the world right now. It's all left-hand drive, and yeah, the numbers are very low. But that's their strategy. They're not trying to. There was like that refresh of the Model S and X, which had like the nicer screen, and they had the plaid and stuff. Well, yeah, when plaid came out, that was the refresh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3 or 4 years ago was that? So it was a little bit. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was definitely a while ago, but it didn't result in huge amounts of sales, right? It's an expensive vehicle. People are gravitating towards the 3 and the Y.
That's what I was about to say. When the Plaid come out, the Model 3 was either coming out that had been out for like a year or something like that. So there was like, so I reckon the Model S and the Model X were successful because there was nothing else in the market. They were very new. There was, all of these early adopter fever, all of this stuff. But the Model 3 is just a more sensitive car, period. at a better price range, and just for a regular for everyday driving, it just makes sense. So of course, and then the
Yeah.
Model Y came.
And that was their strategy. The Tesla strategy
Yes,
all along was to build the
the
first
master
car, which
plan.
was the
If you
expensive one, the Roadster, and then they brought out the S and the X, and they were like a little bit cheaper, and they were going to build more of them, learn more about how to make their manufacturing process better, and then after that, and they made money and they started getting profitable. It's then okay, now Model 3 and then Model Y, and so you can see that, and now they're sort of slowly kind of phasing out those other models, and they're really focusing on 3Y, and then they're going to have the new phase of their life, which is what we talked about earlier with the Model 2. And so that new car, whatever they're going to call it, is going to change them to be almost like a Toyota. They're going to be more volume based. They're going to be mass producing, from my perspective, high quality, but they're going to be mass producing high quality, lower cost EVs, and really competing very well, I think, in that particular segment rather than the high end fancy segment.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Lots of I don't know, how can you call it, minor adjustments in the niche of the Model 3. I think the Model 3 is an important car because it's the main sedan, and as a sedan is the vanilla of the cars. As a person that owns two of them, I here's one for you. I reckon if I would have started this exercise of buying two Teslas instead of a year and a half ago, but in 2025, I don't know if I would have bought maybe two Model 2s.
Yeah, what do you think, having a cheaper electric car is the way that you will then go? So if there is a cheaper one, you don't need the more expensive EV.
Well, I don't. I would rather have, the extra 30 grand in my bank account than to have a second Model 3, to be completely honest. Easily.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy a lot of the things about a Model 3, but I do enjoy money as well. So.
And if you can get most of those features in a Model 2, sure, it won't be maybe as fast, won't as much range, but as a second car, it's probably fine. And I think for me as well, I think I'd be excited about a second car that I could use for the city. But then when I want to do interstate travel or long distance or country travel, I've got my
we talked about
much bigger battery. Yeah. So I think it's
exciting. It sounds very exciting.
But are you worried about in Australia that the Tesla Model 3 was recalled and you couldn't buy one?
I heard that it's coming back.
You're right. Yes, it is. It's coming back. So the Tesla Model 3 in Australia fixed the compliance breach. So again, as we said last time, it was just a top tether point for the middle seats. And now you can buy Model 3s in Australia again.
A lot to do about nothing. Like, it was literally because the tethers, it was there, it was just being covered, for what we understand. That was it. So the recall is taking it, they trim a hole and then
call a notice affecting 500 vehicles. All of those 500 vehicles will have to go to a service center to get that hole cut in them. And all of the new vehicles will have that already done in it. So as you can see here, there is in this picture, there is a little hole there, which the top tether can go in.
Yeah.
And this is what it looked like before.
So does that mean that they're getting the ANCAP rating back? Was that the problem, or that was a different thing?
I don't know. I don't think there's any mention of the ANCAP rating at all. I suspect this was all this was all there was there. But yeah.
Well, that was really dumb. I thought it was going to be something about the stock. I thought it was going to... I wanted something more juicy. I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's kind of a vagina. But yeah, you can still buy it. It wasn't this like, oh my God, there's this massive design flaw. Oh, all these cars are recalled. It was actually a physical recall, though, rather than a software update.
Which is a pet peeve, I think, of both of us, that people just call recalls to something like, oh, 20,000 Teslas need to be recalled, which is literally like, oh, we're just going to upload some software into it.
Yeah, but then are you worried about your Tesla getting hacked?
Well, I've heard things about it, but okay, talk to me more about this, because this is going as the news do. This one has gathered some funny attention, I would say it. I've heard some news that blow it out of proportion, and so let's give me some context.
Yeah, so it's actually a team of hackers won a $200,000 prize by hacking Tesla's cellular modem and infotainment system. So there's a competition which is run as part of the 0-Day Initiative by cyber security giant Trend Micro, which you may have heard of, and they give out rewards for finding vulnerabilities in technology before they're maliciously exploited. So the details of those vulnerabilities are not disclosed publicly until the companies fix the issue. So if they are notified about the issue and told to fix it, so it is a ethical hacking competition. The team called Synactive used a 2-bug chain to attack the Tesla infotainment system and a 3-bug chain against the Tesla modem. So they were able to attack both of those systems. I think the attack against the Tesla modem being a 3-bug chain mean that they needed to use 3 different bugs in order to attack it and get to bypass the protection. So in total, the team won $450,000 for hacking various car accessories and software, including a Sony infotainment system as well. Okay. The event is called Pawn to Own Automotive 2024 and awarded a total of $1 million, identifying 49 new vulnerabilities in targeted products. So isn't that great? That's great. That's great news, right?
Well, okay, because there were news all over, Tesla's being hacked. This. Okay. So it's good to have
so
context.
Tesla being hacked, but it got fixed before we even knew it was hacked.
What I want to talk about is how bad is this and how common. And so, yes, they found this. That's very good. It's been fixed. Fantastic. All of that is fine. But does that mean that they could, I don't know, put it into self-driving mode or something like that could actually be in danger to someone? Or was it we'll change the music?
Yeah, I don't think so. In terms of the infotainment system, hacking that, they could change things like the music, but there is the screen does have access to certain controls of the car, like say opening the boot or opening the glove box, or there's lots of different functions that can be turned on via the screen, like the lights, etc. So if you do hack the infotainment, that can give you access to other functions in the car. The modem is also an interesting one because if you can access the modem, you can intercept all of the requests happening between the car and headquarters like Tesla, and potentially do other malicious things as well. So they could be, but overall, Tesla is always updating security and adding new fixes, and they do also offer their own bug bounties as well. So this is great. This is great news because it's an ethical competition trying to get more people to earn money for doing hacking rather than earn money selling these hacks to criminals. And so these hacks are no longer in criminals' hands. Tesla knows about it. They have fixed it. Overall, I think very good.
So this is obviously
nothing like
right in your wheelhouse as a software engineer. I guess probably the main thing that people would be wondering is how easy it is. Is it something that if these guys could do it, does that mean that some nefarious people could do it in the future? And if they were able to find this vulnerability, are there other ones? Is this something that we should be concerned about? Or is no, look.
No, I don't think it needs to be concerned about. These sorts of competitions, as I said, Tesla would already have been notified and have already fixed the issue. So that this competition will only release things if they have been fixed.
But
so
future
it's
ones,
already
I'm talking
fixed.
About,
there could be future bugs. There could be future bugs that people do, but that's any product. And I think if you look at the security of, if you buy a security camera from online right now, from Amazon, it is very easy for them to be hacked. We've heard about those sorts of news in the story, but in the news, but it's a lot less likely that a Tesla is going to be hacked because it is a lot more high profile, but it has a massive security team protecting it. But a lot of these gadgets and gizmos that you put on your home network and connect to your Wi-Fi have a lot lower security and can be very easily attacked. So I think if you're concerned about things getting hacked, there are other things that you should worry about first. And it's still possible. A lot of them require physical access to it, so they need to actually get access to your car in order to hack it. And so that's not a huge thing you should be worrying about because if you can protect your car from somebody getting into it in the first place, then it's been blown out of proportion. But this is the real news, and this is the exciting part. I think it's a positive news story for me, whereas the media's made it a negative one.
I guess coming from from the viewpoint of a layman, you hear it's been hacked, and you said, "Oh, so it can be hacked."
Yeah,
Which is,
but
you know what?
everything can be hacked.
Yes, yes, yes. I get that. I get it. But you're working as a software engineer, and you know that. But most people at that point are wondering, like, "Oh, I thought Teslas couldn't be hacked." But you obviously, for you, this is a non-issue. But the word hack next to Tesla sound very, very
Yeah, exactly.
dangerous. But anyway, okay. Well, I'll take your word for it because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but and so like it can still happen. There could be still hacks out in the wild which are available. Like most of the news stories I've heard about Tesla and having security issues and bugs have been fixed or fixed very quickly, and so I'm not personally worried too much about it. And there may be some, but if there was one, I think it would be fixed very quickly, and it may only affect certain ones, but also a lot of them, as I said, do require physical access or near proximity access. It's not like they can be hacked from the internet. They have to be. They have to go to you where your car is and then hack it somehow as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, for all of those reasons, I'm not so worried.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit of a personal story I wanted to share with you. Something that happened to
Yeah, I
me
saw that
this
in the doc.
week.
I saw that in the doc. I want to hear about it. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. So I also have a Tesla Powerwall in my house. This is what I use. It's a battery connected to my house. And so it charges from my solar and from the grid if I want it to mean that when I don't have solar, I can use that battery and use that power to power my house and save me a bunch of money. It doesn't necessarily save me huge amounts of money because like the solar panels are what save me the money. The battery probably the battery would take a long time to recoup all the savings, whereas the solar is probably 4 years in whereabouts I live. In different places, you can get better feed-in tariffs and things like that, which can do that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Powerwall, I think the main reason to get one is if you want blackout protection. But in Australia, we also have this ability to use a power company called Amber, where you can buy and sell electricity at the wholesale rate. So today, electricity was sitting at about 1 cent during the middle of the day because there was a lot of wind energy and a lot of solar. And so by being exposed to the wholesale market, I can buy electricity really cheaply and charge my EV during the day, which is what I did. And then I can also charge up my battery when it goes to peak times, like 7 p.m, when everyone turns on their TV, their stove, their hot water system, everything, air conditioning, and power prices go up. I can then sell my cheap solar at those times of the day. So it's really awesome.
Oh, that is really good. That is fantastic. Because I don't get any of those things, by the way. So that's really good.
In the last 6 months, I've averaged about a 10 cents a kilowatt electricity price averaged.
That is fantastic. I'm at 40.
Yes. So it's amazing how much money I've been able to save, both with a battery and with wholesale electricity prices. I have 5 kilowatts on the roof.
So it's not even a massive one. It's not 8 or 12 or anything like that.
No. But yeah, I don't know. I have this battery. It's really awesome. I love it. I tell everyone about it. But yesterday, it just died. It stopped working. I looked in my Tesla app. I was looking at how much battery I had left and how it was charging. And it came up with this little error message in the app saying, battery failed, contact your installer.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was really disappointing. It's only 2 years old. So I contacted AGL, who is the ones that installed it, because I got it through a good deal with them when I was with them as electricity company. And the person on the phone had absolutely no idea. They're like, what? Like, send us a screenshot. Like, what is happening? I don't know what to do. So they were really poor when I called them. So I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't get a new battery or wouldn't get somebody to come out and fix it soon. They asked me to send them an email with a screenshot. So I did. I didn't get any reply, and I was sort of worried. So I called Tesla and I was like, okay, maybe Tesla will help me. They're the ones that made the battery. I called them up, didn't have to wait on hold, spoke to this lovely person, and they ran through and did some diagnostics. So they connected to my system over the internet after confirming all my details. They saw that there was a problem there. They got me to do a manual reset. So reset the gateway and reset the battery, turn it off and on again, just to make sure that it wasn't like an intermittent issue. They then saw all the error codes and they started creating a case for me because they're like, oh yeah, it pretty much, it's died. You need to get a new replacement Powerwall. We'll contact your installer and get them to install a new one for you.
On the warranty, obviously.
Yeah, so it's not a warranty. It's still got a 10-year warranty. So I will probably be getting a new Powerwall at some point. They said it can take between 4 to 6 weeks.
That seems a little bit. I was
sucks.
all on board until that little nugget.
Yeah, so that's what really sucks. So now the problem is, because I've been like having my battery, which has been helping me reduce my power prices during those expensive periods. Now I don't, and I'm now exposed to the expensive electricity because my battery's died.
Yes, I see
So,
exactly. Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to charge your car when you need to and stuff like that, of course.
Well, yeah, I guess I tend to charge my car from solar anyway, so that's not a huge problem. It's just that, yeah, if I do run my air conditioning at nighttime or during a peak event, sometimes electricity can go up to like multiple dollars per kilowatt in an hour. And if I'm using 5 kilowatts, that can be a very expensive hour just to run my aircon. So it was okay when I had a battery because I could ride it out, but without a battery, it's a bit difficult for me. So yeah.
Can you change electricity suppliers just for this small time and then go back, like just going a fixed rate for 35 or 38 kilowatts, like which is like the market standard?
Yeah, I'm considering doing that, like temporarily switching and then going back again afterwards. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's what I got to do.
So did they say why did it fail? Obviously, they don't know. It just failed.
No, I don't think so. I think maybe one of the batteries failed. It could have made a bang noise. The problem was I have it on my security camera, so I could have heard it. But the problem was construction was happening next door, so I didn't know if the noise was my battery or if it was construction. So yeah. I've seen some videos online of somebody's battery in their like garage and it making a big pop noise, and then this happening to them.
As a little bit of context, Australia has been very hot. Well, where we are, you can see it on our browse. It's been really, really hot for the last few days, like the last, maybe 6 or 7 days?
Yeah.
It's been really, really, really hot. So do you think that could have affected it?
I don't think so. The batteries are designed to cope with hot weather. You would see a lot more fail. There wasn't a lot of people online that experienced this problem. So I don't think it's a very common issue, which is good. And it's just, I'm just an unlucky person.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
So would you still recommend it? Would you buy another one? Would you still?
Yeah, definitely. I as soon as I can afford it, I'm keen to get a second one so I can sell a lot more electricity to the grid, and be able to back up my house all night rather than half the night, which I can right now. Especially when the air conditioning's running on a hot night. So yeah, I totally, other than this particular blip, I would not recommend AGL to anyone or their battery service, but I would recommend Tesla's service and support so far. So, yeah.
Well, fantastic. Seems like it's gonna. Well, you can keep us updated on the status of your battery on your Quest.
Definitely, I'll definitely keep everyone updated on it.
Would you get a newer battery? Is that the model has changed? Would it have like anything better, bigger?
there is actually a Powerwall 3, but a Powerwall 3 is a different type of beast and not something that I need. It's not actually a product for me. I would buy another Powerwall 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. It was really awesome to have you here today chatting with us about E.V.s. It was good to tell that story to you as well, Victor. So yeah, thanks. I'd love to hear your comments down below.
I would love to hear. I would love to hear if this has happened to other people about the Powerwall, because I do have solar, but I don't have a Powerwall because I am cheap and I'm waiting to use my car as a Powerwall in 2025. So it's like, why should I spend $9,000 now if I want to be able to do it for free in 1 year? Well, that's what Elon said. We'll see.
Well, yeah, 2 weeks.
But I want to know how common this is, with batteries.
Yeah, if anyone else has had this problem, definitely let me know. Reach out. It's not many people I've seen online. There was definitely some people on Reddit that I saw that had this problem, so I could find out that I wasn't alone.
Excellent. Well, it was a fantastic chat. I am very excited about the Model 2. I am very glad that most of the stuff that I thought was about the recall and all of this crap about the Model 3 Highland was just like the most anticlimactic, silly little thing. And the ludicrous Model 3 is looking ludicrous. It's looking pretty exciting.
Yeah, chat with you next time.
Like and subscribe.